When I think about the Memory Jug and African American funereal art, I suppose when Barbara Chirinos and Ali De La Mora, when they were having the Day of the Dead Festival through the Granville Island Cultural Society and asked me to do a piece that was, tied to Day of the Dead, but from another cultural perspective. I'd already been thinking about making a memory jug, but just didn't really have the momentum in a way to make it until then. I think I saw a picture of the first memory jug. I can't even remember what it was. It was some kind of magazine. Maybe it was National Geographic's, maybe it was something else. But there wasn't just memory jugs. There was African American kind of funereal, sort of like almost abstract sculptures made out of wood, etc. And I think these things have always existed, but of course we know that the state of disrepair and neglecting Black graveyards is now kind of coming to the fore, and we're understanding how horrible that history was. I mean, usually a lot of times Black graveyards are also in near toxic industrial sites, as are their communities. Like Africville. That's how they got rid of Africville, actually, in Nova Scotia. They just at a certain point, I think, got so embarrassed that they were right beside a toxic chemical dump that they decided to move their community, but they destroyed their community. Like, why don't they just give it back? It's a park. Why don't they just give it back to them? It's theirs, But that, if you kind of really look at the history of Black communities in America and Canada, that is the norm. Even when I went to Greensboro, there was apparently in Greensboro a really thriving Black community in Greensboro that had their own streets and their own stores and their own neighborhoods. And then when they decided to build an overpass in Greensboro, they just confiscated that whole Black community and ruined it and built the overpass. And that's the story of Vancouver. I mean, it was a plan, I believe. So, when they asked me to do a piece and gave me the skull, I just thought, I am going to try to make a memory jug. Not, specifically exactly like an African-American memory jug. Yes, usually those jugs, they would take people's favorite objects, etc., and they would adhere them to a jug or a jar or whatever with mud because they didn't have paint or glue or anything like that. And those pieces also, I don't think, were specifically meant to last. I think they were probably meant to just kind of disintegrate into the earth. And that is a very African tradition. When they make sacred objects, sometimes those objects are just meant to disintegrate back into the earth. So I just decided to make my own kind of version, and that version of a memory jug was going to be sort of like a memory, more of a societal memory jug. And I decided to dedicate it to Black Lives Matter because I'd just been in Greensboro and I'd gone to the Beloved Community Center, which was part of the NAACP in Greensboro, and they had weekly meetings, and all these kids from the University of Greensboro were getting together and getting carpools together to go to Ferguson, and Black Lives Matter was just starting to happen then. So I decided to dedicate it more to Black Lives Matter.